Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another tutorial. My name's Kyle, and today we're doing Mylo Xyloto and Hurts Like Heaven. And fun fact, the day this is posted is actually the 10th anniversary of MX. And I've wanted to do a tutorial for this song, or both these songs, for pretty much 10 years now. I have an older version of Mylo Xyloto that's kind of accurate, but not really. So I went through recently and watched a ton of different videos of Chris playing, or the band playing, but I specifically watched Chris's hands during some shots, and I think I've come up with a version here that is very accurate as to what he plays live, especially for the intro and for the outro of the song. That being said, once again, it may not be 100% accurate, but I feel it's very close and it sounds very good. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the chords for Mylo Xyloto. I'm going to show you those first, and then we'll go over how to play it afterwards. So first chord, left hand, is B flat octaves. Right hand, D, F, B flat, D. Second chord, left hand shoots up to E flat octaves. Right hand, move the D octaves. Down to C, keep the F and B flat. Third chord, left hand goes back to B flat octaves. Right hand, you're going to move this lower C up to D, keep the F and B flat, and then just remove that C. Then your fourth chord, left hand up to D octaves. Right hand goes to CFA. So for your right hand, the F is kind of that main note that never changes. Everything else just kind of shifts around it. So there's the first time playing through. So we pretty much repeat that once again with a few changes. So just to recap the first time, there's your first chord, followed by your second chord, then your third, and the fourth. This time around, so the right hand stays the same. We go back to the D, F, B flat, D. Left hand, instead of going to B flat octaves, we're going to go to E flat octaves. And we're going to hold the E flat octaves for the second chord as well. So second chord, right hand goes down to C octaves right there. And then right before we change to the third chord, you're going to come up and play this individual F note here. And I actually have a video real quick I'll overlay of Chris playing that from a few different performances. You can see him kind of hang on that chord there for the left hand, the octaves, then he shoots up to that individual single note F right before going to the third chord. So for the third chord, we're back. Left hand, B flat octaves. Right hand, D, F, B flat. So same chord as before for the third chord. This time, you're going to hold on to this chord for the fourth chord as well, so play it twice as long. We're not going to shift to that chord there. We're going to stay right on this chord. So to recap, kind of both sections there, just playing the chords all the way through. Second time. Then hold this chord. And then that entire thing repeats one more time, and that's the intro. All right, so now going over how to play that. Obviously, for the live version, the album version, he's kind of, hammering on the keys there. I personally have a hard time doing it. I don't think it sounds the best when I do it, but pretty much you would just do just that, just kind of bounce back and forth. Just like that. If you want to play it a little bit more, kind of following along with the melody of the xylophone, you can do that as well, and you can just kind of mimic Guy's bass in the left hand. The whole time he's just on B flat, just going. So you can do that, but obviously just kind of shift with your, those left hand notes there. So you could do something like this. that kind of mimics the xylophone and kind of has some sort of structure to it versus just, kind of banging on the keys like that. So those are kind of the two ways you can play it there. And now we'll go over to the xylophone part, just in case you want to know that. All right, so for the xylophone part, it's pretty simple actually. You're just going to kind of stay on one note down here, the F note. And then you're just going to kind of bounce down between D, C, B flat, and A. So starting off. Repeat it again, but for the second time around, you're going to stop on the B flat and hold that for the fourth chord as well. But yeah, that's pretty simple. Just a xylophone part there if you want to know that. Alright, so jumping into Hurts Like Heaven, we have the verse which sounds like this. Alright, so there's a verse, and that pretty much repeats for actually the entire song, chorus as well. First, I'm going to show you kind of the 5 chords we have here. One of them's only played once at the end, but they're pretty simple chords. So starting off with that first one, left hand, B flat octaves. Right hand, F, B flat, D. Second chord, left hand goes up to C octaves. Right hand, B flat jumps up to C as well. Keep the F and the D. Then your next chord, left hand E flat octaves, right hand G, B flat, E flat. And those right there I would say are the 3 main chords for the entire song. You're pretty much just starting at that B flat. The second chord's a transition. Then you jump up to the E flat there. And that pretty much just loops. Obviously you have a few different one different chord really that jumps in there, which is this next chord here. So the fourth chord, left hand F, C, F, right hand A, C, F. Then the fourth chord, which we'll go more into depth later, but it's just this chord here, left hand D octaves, right hand F, A, D. Once again, that comes in at the very end of the song, just one time. So there are your 5 chords there. Alright, so kind of structuring the song out here, starting from the beginning, I guess we have the verse. Like I said, the verse and the chorus, pretty much the entire song, you're just starting at that first chord, jumping up to that E flat, to the C, to the E flat. That's pretty much the entire song, you're just looping that, but you come in with this F chord during the last part of the verse, or the pre-chorus, whichever you want to call it. So starting out from the beginning, with the lyrics. To my newer audience, I'm not a good singer, so I tend to just speak the lyrics. It's a little bit of annoying, but just kind of bear with me there for a minute. So starting off, written in graffiti on a bridge in a park. So do you ever get the feeling that you're missing the mark? So right around your, so when you play that chord there. So missing the mark. Then right here, so cold, so cold. Then we just repeat that, same thing. So written up in marker on a factory sign. Struggle with the feeling that my life isn't mine. So cold, so cold. And then for this chord too, if you want, throughout the song, you can actually add this higher G in there. And then you can just move it down to an F, just to mimic what the guitar does, the acoustic guitar. So it sounds something like this. But that's the verse there, so we play that twice. And then on See the Arrow They Shot, Trying to Tear Us Apart, that that, so we jump to the F, C, F in the left hand, A, C, F in the right. So take the fire from my belly and the beat from my heart, and then on heart we jump back down to the E flat. Still I won't let go. Hold that chord there before going into the chorus. Then the chorus just repeats the same thing. And then on Cause You Do, we just go back to this B flat. And then right here, oh, you use your heart as a weapon. Jump up to that F chord. Cause It Hurts Like Heaven. Back down to that E flat. And then once again, we just repeat the same thing. So the guitar comes in, we just have the same thing here. Once again, same thing, just keeps looping. Get into the second verse, same thing. That's pretty much it. The song just keeps looping that same pattern over and over. And then once we get to toward the ending, after the second guitar solo, we have right here where everybody sings the O's. So da 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 do, da 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 do. So we go from the F to the E flat to the B flat, and then on It's True, that's when we go to that D. So left hand D octaves, right hand F A D. So it's true. When you jump up to the F chord, use your heart as a weapon, and It Hurts Like Heaven, back down to the E flat, and then for the ending, we have some different chords here that are a lot more distinct. All right, now we jump to the outro of the song. This is where Chris jumps back in on the piano, and we have this part here. So this part here is one of my favorite things to play. It's just, it's so distinct for the ending there, and it's pretty simple. It's just 3 chords. So we're going to start off, left hand B flat octaves, right hand D, F, B flat, C. You'll notice here we're pretty much on that first chord we played for Mylo Xyloto, but instead of this D here, we're going to move it down to C. And this right here is just classic Chris. He always, not always, but quite frequently he does this, where he'll, you have a chord here with octaves, and he'll take one of the notes and just either shift it up or shift it down one note. And it just makes that chord sound a little bit different, a little bit more unique. Just, once again, classic Chris Martin right there. So, that first chord right there. Move to the second chord. Left hand C octaves, right hand C, F, A. And your third chord, left hand E flat, B flat, right hand C, G, B flat. And then right here, we're going to move this G down to an F. And that kind of mimics the same thing we did in the verse, where you shoot up to the E flat chord there. Oh, same thing there. And these chords right here actually are pretty much the same chords that we played earlier. They're just, a different format. So if you want to play these chords instead throughout the entire song, you actually could do that. So you could start off, written in graffiti. I personally just like to keep this for the end because it's so distinct. But once again, you could just replace these chords, or replace the verse chords with these chords here, and it would be the same thing pretty much. And then you just move to like the F chord when you have to, or that D. But yeah, these chords pretty much are the same chords we've already done. It's just laid out differently, that's all. So one more time, just recapping that. There's your first chord, second chord, then your third chord, then just move that G down to F. And then that just loops all the way to the end of the song. And then we just kind of land on that first chord. And then for the third chord, overlay video here, we can see he's hitting that B flat right there, clear as day. But in a different performance, he doesn't hit that B flat, he just omits it, and he plays the C and G alone, followed by C and F. It's pretty much the major differences, and I think during one or two performances, going up to that third chord, he might do something like this. So right hand, you're on CFA, jump up to C, F, B flat, back to CFA, so. Before jumping up to there. And then that just loops. That's the ending right there. Just keep looping that, and then how you play it, it's kind of similar to how you've played, throughout the rest of the song, but you can hear he kind of leaves a little bit more space for this outro part, so you can start off just. Kind of bouncing your hands back and forth a little bit. Then end on that chord, and that is the outro. Alright, so that's Hurts Like Heaven, but I just want to go over a few different things you can add, like the synth and the guitar riffs in there, just because it's a very repetitive song. If you're singing, it's one thing because it's, something else going on, but if you're trying to kind of showcase the song and do a performance, you probably want to add some of these synths or guitar riffs in here as well. So starting off from the end of MX. We go down to E flat octaves, the very lowest ones on the keyboard, and in the live version, he's just kind of hammering those. What I did in my cover, I just kind of hit those once, and then I play the synth part right here, which sounds like this. You're just going from F to A to B flat, back down to A, and just looping that. And then if you want, you can add kind of the main chords we have. So we had that first chord, the F, B flat, D, then the G, B flat, E flat. You can do that up here as well, so you can play B flat, D, F, and just play that when you play the F. So. And then right here, move the D up to an E flat. And that's the synth right there. That just keeps looping throughout the entire song. So you can do that as well if you want. And then something else the synth does right before the song kicks in is it's up here, I think, on B flat octaves. It just kind of hits those real quick, right before jumping into the song. All right, now for the guitar riff in the choruses. Sounds like this. So left hand, I am just doing the same chords I did with my right hand, same thing. So we have the F, B flat, D, and then G, B flat, E flat. So same thing right there. And then before jumping up to the G, B flat, E flat, you can just move this B flat up to a C. So same thing as the verse, you're just doing it with your left hand instead of your right. And then your right hand, you're just bouncing back and forth between D and B flat 3 times. On the 4th time, you just jump up to E flat. Just keep looping that, same thing over and over. All right, now we get to the guitar solo, which sounds like this. All right, so once again, the chords here are the same thing for that left hand. Just bouncing back and forth between F, B flat, D, and G, B flat, E flat. Right hand, we have this little riff here. So starting off on E flat, playing that 3 times. Jumping down to D, then to C, then to B flat, and G. Sorry, it's B flat, then G, and then B flat, and F. So an extra B flat in there. There's the first time around. Repeat that same thing, except for the second time, instead of hitting E flat 3 times, you're going to bounce back and forth between E flat and D. So pretty much playing a D for that second note instead of an E flat. The rest is the same thing. There's a change right here though for that second time, so you play B flat and G, and then play D. And then that loops once again. So playing that part a little bit slower. So when I hit D, that's when I kind of shift with that left hand to the F, C, D. And then right here, left hand goes to that E flat chord. Right hand just repeats the same thing. Alright, so the second part of that solo is actually really hard to teach, and I did not do a good job whatsoever. So I'm actually just going to throw in a video of the Synthesia keyboard alone, and it's slowed down to roughly 50 or 75%, and you can just take a look at that and kind of see each individual note nice and slow. Alright, so from there you can go back into the chorus, same riff as before, you just play it twice instead of once, and you can also maybe add octaves in on that second time. Something like that. But we get to the final guitar solo, which sounds like this. Alright, so starting off with the riff up here on D and G. Here's middle C right here. Now the actual guitar riff I believe is played down here. I like to kind of keep it up here for the piano. So we have D, G, D, F, followed by F, D, and then walk down from G, F, D, back to F. There's that first part. We repeat that once again. Next riff, come down here. We're going to play B flat, D, G, B flat. After that, B flat twice. And then just walk down from D to B flat to G to F. Once again, play that riff twice, and then repeat that entire thing one more time. Adding the left hand in, we just have B flat octaves here. That's what I play. And I kind of fill in the spaces, so for this first part. here, when you play that G, F, D, F on that G, left hand can go up to C octaves if you like. Now we're on E flat octaves for this next part. Same thing. Just once again, like I said, loop that. So I'll play that twice, and that is the last guitar solo. Alright, so that doesn't wrap it up for this lesson. Thank you guys for watching. If you're having trouble at all still, you can check out my Synthesia lesson, where I will leave a link to the MIDI file for you to download in the description of that video, and you can kind of put that into Synthesia or any other program of your choice where you can slow it down and just kind of practice it at whatever speed you wish. I also have a cover-up of MX and Hurts Like Heaven, and to mark the 10th anniversary of MX itself, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more special, so instead of just doing the typical, piano or acoustic guitar cover, I decided to throw in kind of a full one-man band cover, so I have the cajon, the bass, as well as the electric guitar in there for a full Coldplay cover. I kind of mimicked the BBC acoustic version from back in 2011 or so. So anyway, that's there if you want to watch it. I appreciate all the kind comments, kind words. It really does mean a lot to me, and I will see you guys in the next one.